Hello, welcome to this video where I'm going to showcase some of my Gym Breakers battles. Gym Breakers is basically a competition where different nationalities, countries play against each other in a whole league. There's multiple divisions. It actually has grown really big since the last time I've played in it. And we start up again as Netherlands, and I'm not the most patriotic guy, or but I do like it sometimes when some Dutch comes into it, like for the Utrecht. For the Utrecht special event that I casted, I actually got a Landorus for it, right? This is me and Leonard when we're casting Utrecht. And you see here the Landorus, right? Which I basically got because I feel like it represents a little bit like the Dutch lion, right? The Dutch orange lion. So basically that. Now, I'm just going to show you real quick who's on my team, who participated in this competition mostly. And then we're going to take a look at a couple battles from my pair with Lorenzo. So, first off, a quick introduction to the team that played here in the corporate division. We didn't get too high, we didn't start too high, right? Because you start from the bottom and you have to climb all the way up. But so far we won basically everything. Let's take a look. We have, in pair 1, we have 7WS7, moderator in my Twitch channel. And on the right we have Howie. You may have seen him on my channel before. He's a local of mine. And in pair 2, we have Guido. We've seen him a couple times on my channel as well. He is in my faction too, and in Stadium Elite right now, Stadium Empress. And on the right, we have Chun. You may know Chun from being the Dena guy in Europe, right? North America has Ryan Swag, and we have Chun, who's been playing the Den. I think he got to 3rd place in Bochum last year. Really good stuff. In pair 3, we have myself and Lorenzo Leeuwen. I think my stats speak for themselves. Lorenzo has been, I believe, top 8 in both Play Pokemon tournaments that he played, in Utrecht and in Lille. I have high expectations of him next season as well. And in pair 4, we have Normaal Hein and Gideon. How the hell do I say that in English? HAFC? I don't know. I can know what these guys come up with the names. Anyway, I've known Gideon for a while. Lives in the same city. Normaal Hein, I'm not too familiar with him, but a good player, good guy as well. And played in Lille and Utrecht last year as well. A lover of double steel. And the last two that we have, they didn't play this round or most of this format, simply because StatStan was in Japan for most of it, right? The world's competitor, you probably know StatStan if you know PvP. And on the left we have Shona NL, actually our captain, but he was on holiday somewhere in South America. He's been even traveling all over the place there, so obviously he didn't want to play then. So that's our team. Now let's take a look at the matchup that we have. Basically, per matchup you play 3 battles, the best out of 3. Which means as an individual you can get 6 points, right? I play a best out of 3 against DJ Power and a best out of 3 against Dushi. So what I'm going to showcase is some battles of myself and Lorenzo. I'm going to showcase 1 battle per matchup. These battles all take place in the Vanguard meta, which was a Sylph meta, Sylph Factions meta, and it has been a little bit adjusted with like Noctowl, and Kofabrigas are now out of it, and it's had some significant impact on Australia. And you see in pair 3, myself and Lorenzo Leeuwen are paired up against DJ Power and Dushi. I really would have loved to play against my friends Innebloom and Jakobovic, but didn't get to that, unfortunately. But yeah, this is the finals of our division, so stakes were kind of high, I guess, and it was going to be a good pair. So one thing that many of the Dutch players thrive on is Dusclops. Dusclops, without Noctowl in its meta, is incredibly safe to run. Now, its moveset is a little bit iffy because you have Shadow Punch, Ice Punch, and Poltergeist as usable attacks. And Poltergeist is a really good nuke, but Shadow Punch, on the other hand, is a really bad bait attack, right? If you don't get the bait, it just does little damage. It pairs really well with the Dugong, and I like Heracross myself. Lorenzo picked it as well, because it breaks like Ice plus other fighters, right? Another fighter that was common was Machamp or Poliwrath, and we see here that my opponent indeed runs that. So that already is something. The Heracross core breaks there, the Dugong Poliwrath core. A lot of players also brought Trevenant, that also deals with the fighters and can fight back against ice types. I wasn't a fan of Trevenant because of its bulk, and with the new moveset update, Mantine also became stronger, which it wasn't before. Usually it was Charizard that I liked there, but now that Mantine was buffed, I picked that, and then I have regular Quagsire because it's better against Mantine than I expected. Dushi didn't bring it, however. He brought Dragonair and Golbat. Golbat is quite interesting. It's very good against Heracross. It has Shadow Ball for Dusclops, but it's really bad against my Spice pick here, which is Caracosta. Caracosta is supposed to break matchups like Ice plus Flyer. Sometimes it's like double Flyer. So basically when there's like a Charizard Walrein core, Caracosta just breaks that really nicely. It does get hard counted very well against like Poliwrath and Quagsire. a thing that the Australians really hung on to was the Slowbro. It wasn't like on every of their team. I wasn't too impressed with it. Like, there's always a Dusclops, I guess. But Confusion hit hard. I lead my Caracosta into a Dragonair. This is definitely not what I expected. Like, I usually expect players to be pretty afraid of my Dugong with the Dragonair, but my opponent was not. I tried to catch an Aqua Tail on my Mantine unsuccessfully. But it can take the body slam. Mantine is a pretty bulky Pokemon, and out comes the Slowbro. This is exactly where I don't want it, to be honest, because now I'm predicting something like Dugong in the back, and that would be quite bad for my Dusclops, because Dusclops is too slow to get to the Poltergeist before getting debuffed. So yeah, that's not great. Luckily, Aerial Ace has been buffed, so it comes out really quickly. 5 wing attacks, and 3 of them with the wing attacks will take out this Mantine. My opponent throws a charge stack here, which is perfectly fine, but it is only a Surf, so you can even get another Confusion in, and I'm barely not getting to another Aerial Ace. Going to farm down this Slowbro with my Dusclops, but I'm also preserving. I also want to preserve some health on this, so I'm going to shield up this Psychic here. Actually, I mean, Caracosta is the more fragile Pokemon here, so maybe it wasn't per se necessary. Let's see what comes in. Now it's the Dragonair again, which confuses me. At this point, I thought it was Trevenant in the back. Yeah, Trevenant, I don't know if that's really great against my team, but like, I mean, there's a Quagsire, Caracosta, and Heracross. Although, if you don't throw a charge attack with Caracosta, you actually farm down Trevenant in the 2 shield, so it's not like the worst. I mean, it's not great for Caracosta, but it's also not the worst. I'm going into my Caracosta here to try to snipe it. I was barely not there. I catch an Aqua Tail on the charge attack priority there, but my opponent decides to fully uncharge that, and at that point I realize it's going to be the Poliwrath in the back. I wanted to uncharge for a little bit to get more farm, but he just swaps out, I realized, so I just took him out afterwards anyway. In comes the Poliwrath. Shields are down though, and you know what time it is then. This is exactly one of the matchups that Dusclops just loves. This is even better than Slowbro for it. Dusclops is going to feast on this Poliwrath. It's also pretty bulky, and like I would love to even use it in like open Great League formats if there wasn't Lickitung all over the place. Like, because Lickitung just walls it, and look at this Poltergeist. It's a sight to see. Boom! See you later. And yeah, that went really well there. I got that's one of the less RPS wins that I had there. I went 3-0 later on. I predicted his leads quite well. I think the other games I let like Dusclops into Slowbro. That's what these players did a lot. They let Slowbro because they always, I think I predicted that they always would think that Dusclops is a safe switch Pokemon. So I just let it, and a couple times I got a Slowbro lead there. So I 3-0'd in this matchup. Next up we have Lorenzo against Dushi, and Lorenzo's running a very similar team. He's running the Shadow Charizard instead of the Caracosta that I have. Other than that, it's just a similar team. And yeah, our pair has been doing really well throughout this tournament. I think we usually get like 9 or 10 points at least per round. Now let's take a look at how this battle that I have here from Lorenzo. He's running the shiny Dusclops actually, and he leads it into the Trevenant from Dushi here. Now Dushi, again, that Golbat looks kind of threatening, but I think the Shadow Charizard looks very neutral here from Lorenzo. Even against Slowbro, puts up a decent fight. But he didn't bring it this time. He's bringing the Dusclops, the Quack, and the Dugong. It's pretty nice to see the what's called the Trevenant here, just because your Quack avoids now. He actually calls a Seed Bomb bait, which is wild. Let's see. Opponent actually catches on the Dugong, and now you see like Shadow Punch is just such a bad move. But yeah, this is, I guess, the alignment that Lorenzo kind of wants. He gets the Quagsire on this Dugong. The Dugong unfortunately gets to an Icy Wind before Lorenzo's able to get to that Stone Edge. But the Stone Edge is still super effective. I believe 2 should be enough. I'm not sure actually after the second debuff though. Let's see. Stone Edge coming through. Does a really good chunk of damage. I think that the next Stone Edge, even when debuff, should take out. And it looks like Lorenzo just throws his Mud Bomb here because he doesn't want to shield. But the thing that kind of is annoying here is that the Dugong might be able to Ice Shard him down. It's difficult to Mud Shot the Dugong down when you're double debuff, so that's not great. Look at that. Yeah, he's trying to throw his attack, but unable to. I guess now you can get some farm back on your Trevenant maybe, or your Dugong. And he still shoot up, so it's not the worst per se. It's probably that Slowbro again. Right, that's what the Australians really love to use. It is the Slowbro. And Slowbro is a pick I've considered as well, just because that's such a good matchup against that fighter and the Dugong or the Ice type, right? Just like Heracross does for us. The Slowbro does somewhat the same for them, although the Slowbro does have a better matchup against most fighters. Against flyers, I mean. So yeah. Now you get to Ice Shard this completely down though, and I think at this point Lorenzo just wants to shield both C-Bombs here. They're super effective and do the most damage. Psychic also hits quite hard, but it's nerfed, so it does less damage, I guess. But yeah, I think the slow bro is about full, so you might need 3 charge stacks here. And what we told, we were in a voice call, we told Lorenzo, throw Icy Wind first, you're gonna need 3 charge stacks here. So that means that you might as well just try to just debuff him first, right? Lorenzo realized that as well, throws the Icy Wind now. That means that the next Psychic Throne is going to be debuffed, and that should solidify the position of this Dugong, because now the Psychic does less damage. I think it still puts you into the red, maybe barely not. But yeah, without a debuff, definitely would do more damage. Yeah, puts him barely into the red. With some confusions, he may have been KO'd otherwise. So, very, very smart Icy Wind there, and that allows the Dugong to take this matchup. See, like, sometimes Dugong in his worst matchups is still really good. I really like that about Dugong. It's flexible. The next matchup that I have is against DJ Power, and he's also running a similar team to my previous opponent. He has a Credilli, though, which is an interesting pick. It defeats the Mantine, beats my Quagsire, beats my Caracosta, and it puts up a good fight against Dugong. I only really have the Heracross for that, so that was something I was definitely afraid of, just like with the Golbat. But my previous opponent didn't even bring the Golbat at all, which was interesting. He's also running a Shadow Poliwrath instead of the regular one, like my previous opponent. And I honestly had the same approach here. My opponent probably always would expect me to, like, say switch the Dusclops, even though they are allowed to communicate after another, right? So when I played my previous opponent, he could tell this opponent how I played my matchups. I didn't care, though. I was going to lead Dusclops 3 times in this matchup. The first game I won, where I led my Dusclops into Shadow Poliwrath, and this time, this is a more neutral matchup. I tried to take the ones that were not RPS. I actually had a really good alignment on these guys. I lead my Dusclops into Trevenant. This is actually a positive matchup for the Dusclops, because 2 Shadow Punches take out, and the Shadow Punch just comes out so quickly. I think maybe if Trevenant baits twice, you might be able to get somewhere, but I'm not sure if there's a world where you can outpace this Dusclops. I'm going to shield that first attack. If it's Shadow Ball, it will knock me out, and it is the Shadow Ball, so that's a good shield. I think his previous opponent might have told him that I called some baits, so he actually went for the full Shadow Ball, and he actually throws the Seed there after some hesitation. So maybe he doesn't really have a straight answer to this. Let's see what comes in. Trevenant is knocked out. In comes the Dugong, which I'm not sure if I like that. I do predict the Slowbro in the back. One good thing about this, though, I will get 2 area aces before he can even debuff me, so I get the full damage on this Dugong. But Dugong is very bulky, it's not going to care a lot. One other thing that I can do here, though, is gain a lot of momentum with my own Dugong later, right? The odds are, though, that he likely just switches out as soon as I bring in my Dugong, so not sure if I can do a lot with that. Yeah, Ice Wind comes in, and at this point he can probably farm it down, so that's not great. I do have quite some energy loaded on my Dusclops, I think about 2 Shadow Punches, and it will come in handy against a potential Slowbro later. One thing that I am afraid of here is the Credilli. Just like I was afraid against Golbat from my previous opponent, I'm afraid of the Credilli here. Let's see. But either way, energy on Dusclops is just always good if you can threaten a Poltergeist. I actually catch an Icy Wind there, and here I mistime my move completely. I have no idea how to time it here, and I actually let a full Confusion sneak here, which is terrible for me. Because what this does, going over 100 NG plus let him sneak, is actually the worst case scenario. This might, I'm not gonna say this denies me a full Shadow Punch, but I think I could have definitely had 2 more hacks in, and it might be pretty crucial because I need every single damage in. I will actually leave this Confusion at 1 HP, but I just threw in case I wouldn't, so I want to get that Shadow Punch damage in. There's a good chunk of damage, and with 2 more hacks, this definitely would have been in drone range. I don't have the drone yet, though, so I can do some ice shards. I think Slowbro and Great League is not too bulky, so I can still just throw a drone to take it out. And here I actually miscounted, even though Confusions aren't going exactly fast. But this is actually not a Psychic, and I don't like that because a few more Confusion I'm in drone range. But what I forgot here is that the opposing Dugong had didn't have any HP left anymore. The Mantine put in so much work. So this drone is going to take out the Slowbro, and then I'm 1 ice shot off another drone. Look at how low that Dugong already is. So that will take me this game. In the next game, I let my Dusclops into his Slowbro. I think I have my Mantine on his Trevenant and my Dugong into his Dragon. It was very straightforward how I called everything. I like to play a lot with the Dusclops Dugong core in this meta. It honestly makes me want to run more Dugong in open formats as well. I think it's really good. The last battle that I'm showcasing here is from Lorenzo against DJ Power, with the same team, obviously. And I think that Lorenzo probably wants to bring the same things here with Dugong, Dusclops core. You don't want to bring Zard a lot. Like, Credilli is not that great of a matchup, even though you have good fast attack pressure. Lorenzo actually had the bug where you have like the black shade, and it actually makes your game a little bit laggy as well. So if you ever have that, restart your game before you PvP. You might notice a few inconsistency, not a lot. This is a horrible lead. I think honestly a little bit predictable, but Dusclops makes for an excellent safe switch against a Slowbro. However, this is also one of the more annoying things to deal with, which is the Dugong, because it outpaces to an Icy Wind before you get to Poltergeist. And look, that just looked a little bit weird. And this as well. Look at that. See, you need to restart your game if you have that black shade character. Like, that's just not good. The opponent also shields the Poltergeist, and this is not great for Lorenzo because, you know, you have to build all the way back up to another Poltergeist. Luckily, regular Dusclops is bulky enough to get there while no shooting all of this. So you just get to another one. This still chunks quite some damage. Dugong will not get into the red though, so. But at this point, you have a lot of momentum that you can build on your own Dugong. You can build up quite some drones here, maybe take 2 yourself and build to 100 energy. Let's see how Lorenzo is going to do this. This battle was from like a week ago, so I honestly already forgot a little bit about it, what he did. That's what he did. Now I remember. Yeah, he caught the drone. I told him this is really risky because if it doesn't work, you just lose probably. But it did work. Yeah, it gets the root notification. Really good stuff. And this is really iffy. His Dugong has energy, which is something, I guess. But at this point, you kind of need to pull some shields. But if you pull shields from the Dragonair, the Slowbro also becomes stronger, right? If you use your own shields, because that's what Slowbro does. It hits that really hard Psychic, and doesn't actually... The Ice Beam actually lands there, which is big. Now you have to throw the Arrow Ace before the next Icy Wind. Let's see if DJ Power is going to shield this. I think they keep the shield for the Slowbro at this point. Slowbro is the one to sweep, but Dugong... Or sorry, Mantine is still alive, and it's, you know... doing a lot of work here. It's single debuff, remember, from that Ice Wind. Or sorry, it's not debuff because it's called a Duron. Yeah, now you have so much chip into this Slowbro. Luckily, getting that charge tech priority. Otherwise, the Slowbro might sneak a confusion there. So that works out really well for Lorenzo here. Also shields the Psychic correctly. Luckily, not a Surf Bait. So everything is going exactly the way he wants. And that catch might actually do it. It's actually a really good no-shoot from the opponent. Simply because there may have been an Icy Wind bait from Lorenzo, right? Going for the Icy Wind right now to debuff and possibly survive another a Psychic here. I think a Psychic might still almost take him out. Oh, but the Slowbro is just too slow. It's like 5 confusions, 20 turns to get to 1 Psychic here. This will take out the Dugong, I believe, but you probably feint to 1 or 2 wing attacks. 2 wing attacks will take it out, and that takes the game for Lorenzo here. So, really tough lead, still good comeback. I think the Dusclops safe switch is just so good. Also because it drew out that Dugong. That's probably one of the worst matchups that the Mantine could have had there besides the Credilli. So very well played from Lorenzo there. And those basically were the matchups that I want to show here. Lorenzo went 2-1 twice. I went 3-0 twice. So again, 10 points from a pair. And we won against Australia through that. So that concludes the quick Gym Breakers video that I made here. I'm pretty proud of my run with Lorenzo in that pair, and obviously proud of the whole team to have won everything so far. We're going to play the Open Division next, and we'll just see how that goes. It's been pretty fun, especially since Factions is gone for a while. So yeah, hope you liked the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.